जितना प्रॉब्लम मुझे कॉमन ऐप फिल करने में आया था उतना पब्लिसिटी ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम से सब पर फिल करने के लिए आया था, ठीक है। सो शायद ज़्यादा आया था बिकॉज इवन आई वाज वेरी मच कंफ्यूज कि क्या फिल करना है, कैसे बिल्ड करना है, बस सीरियस होगा। सो इन दिस वीडियो वी आर गोइंग टू गो थ्रू व्हाट इट लुक लाइक इन द CSS Profile of week 35 so that you can understand कि like क्या क्या बोलती है, how we should submit as an Indian for getting as much as paid possible and what other things we should be aware or careful about, ठीक है, because tax documents कितने सब लाइक इफ यू आर टू सबमिटिंग for 2005 तो सबमिटिंग 20 का टैक्स के डॉक्यूमेंट सबमिट करने, a lot of people mistake it as was before and वहाँ पे थोड़ा ज्यादा अमाउंट मेंशन कर देते हैं and that's why they get less paid, ठीक है। So there are quite a lot of things. So इस वीडियो में हम लोग इन डिटेल में जानने वाले हैं about the entire walkthrough. So return and चलो simple. So in this screen, first of all you will understand that CSS profile जब तुम बना लेते हो एक बार you cannot create it, ठीक है। So मैंने सोचा कि एक और बनाऊंगा and then what basically happens is CSS profile is connected to the college board account. So college board account तो फिर से एक नया बनाना पड़ता है, उसके बाद CSS board बनाना पड़ रहा था मुझे। सो आई जस्ट सॉ कि ना तुम्हें अपना मेरा खुद का CSS profile ही रखा सो दैट आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड एवरीथिंग दैट्स देयर, ठीक है। एंड जनरली यही सारे डिटेल्स मांगते हैं सभी इन मोस्ट टाइम्स, सो इट्स बेसिकली द सी, ठीक है। सो coming to the point is कि you can see whenever you're asking for a CSS profile video, you know, always mention this thing, CB fin aid. This is the financial aid ID of the CSS profile of your profile. So ये वाला मेंशन करते तुम्हें CSS profile video मांगना है हमेशा, ठीक है। एक बार CSS profile को तुम सबमिट कर देते हो, सबमिशन ऑफ द CSS profile you cannot check it by any chance, ठीक है। So you have to create a new profile of the that, ठीक है। So actually you know when I had my issues when I was applying for the US, मेरा पहला एक प्रोफाइल था यही वाला, ठीक है, जो मैं तुम्हें दिखा रहा हूँ। So this was it had some very wrong data and I submitted it, ठीक है। So I knew को मुझे चेंज करना पड़ेगा, so मैं तुम्हें ये डमी वाला ही दिखा रहा हूँ, but anyways the all the things are the same and yeah pretty much that. So first thing first, that what they ask is obviously like your first name and middle name and everything, yeah it's totally wrong. And उसके बाद they ask you your phone and mail and then students marital status and like you know country कहाँ पे रहते हो, basic things, yeah. These are some basic things like the country citizenship types. So student citizenship में if you are putting it as non-US, then it's totally fine. You have to mention like what type of visa type that you are going to go through. Generally, in most cases, it's going to be a but if you are someone who thinks like I will be financing my entire education, that type of visa is the J1 visa, okay. But in 95% of the cases, it's going to be a but. So that's all, okay. Now, then it's basically permanent address and then yeah, pretty much the basic things, you know, like कहाँ रहते हो, blah blah blah, बाबा मम्मी का नाम क्या है, and like then comes the main part कि like after the academic and high school stuff, they start asking you about the money, obvious things, right? So now क्या होता है कि the first question they ask you is how much money did you received in scholarship for the year. And another important thing, guys, is that CSS profile you have to put the things as per your currency ticket. Like I'm from India. I put my country as India, so obviously I will be putting the money in INR, not in USD. They will be converting it or like in USD on their side. Okay, so that is what we have to be aware of, right? So in case in this one in 12th I was Gemini's a junior scholar, so I was getting like 17,500 per year, okay. So I put that money like amount the money, that's something, and pay to tuition was somewhere around like the common year, I think to 50 to 60 and the doctor. So anyways, that's fine. So then they ask you about like all the colleges that you're going to enter. Ab dekho, this college wala thing you can do it later on, so you just add one college and then skip and fill up all the remaining details, okay? Because you can edit the colleges and everything later on as per it. But yeah, basically that's all. Now for the college thing, I just be very quick about this one. Generally what they ask is what type of housing is it going to be, is it on campus or what, and what is the like is it RDEA or ED that you're going to apply to, and another thing is that if you have any goal on that's a later part, but pretty much that is all, right? So that's it. It is it's pretty simple in that way. And then they ask you about the date of birth and you know the details about the fairings, like college, then their date of birth, etc. And then the main thing is that if you are someone who is applied for the fall 2025 intake, they are going to be asking you for the federal tax credit of 2023. That is important thing, keep in mind, because a lot of people think that 2005 shall rise, so 2004 ka dala, but that is not the case at all, right? So you have to put the things of 2023, right? Now, यहाँ पे please make sure that you are inputting exact details that is in your tax doc. If you don't have a tax document, तब क्या ही कर सकते हैं, but I would strongly say that if you are applying for US, start thinking at least 2 years so that you can at least prepare these things. Even if you are running a business, like having a business tax file, it's also something that works. But anyways, now after that, my parents didn't have any real estate or others, so that the kind of thing is zero. Like net income from businesses, partnership, net income from rental real estate, net income from farms, these were all zero. So that is something. Then parent non-US tax return or non-tax filer, whatever the other things like pension, annuity, those are going to be zero because they didn't apply, right? For me as well. If they apply to you, then definitely put in. But yeah, that's up. And then they are going to ask you about all the taxes and mandatory withholdings set aside or pay, whatever taxes that you had, so all the things that you're including your income tax, state tax, blah blah, everything, you put in there. And for us, the amount was pretty low, under 50, under 50 calling. But anyways, for my family, I'm saying about my family, very a lower middle class so you get the idea. But anyways, and then what happens is alimony received in 2023. This is not going to be, if your parents aren't divorced, it's going to be obviously you. The alimony is the money that is there. If a married couple is divorced after the pays is slice, so that is the alimony. But anyways, housing and other living allowances in 2023. One thing to keep in mind is that all these tax things, and this housing, food, and other living allowances, these are all from 2023, not 2024 or 2025. And another thing to keep in mind is that this document's data is for the fall 2005 intake. For this intake, the CSS profile is going to be released on October 1 of 2025, and that would be for the fall 2026 intake. So for this year, the new CSS profile is yet to be live, and the data that you are going to put in this year's CSS profile would be from for the year 2024, right? So that's some. And then parents' income and other things, if they have untaxed income and others, etc. That's all. Then they ask you about the employment of the parents. My mom is the housewife, but she also is a private English tutor for some school kids, right? So that would be unemployed, but maybe self-employed, right? Self-employed, and then simple things. And then the retirement plans is other type of plan if you have an LIC or whatever. That's what for my dad, it was employed well because he's a professor at Ramkrishna Mission, RKMVCC college. So that's all. If your dad has on the state government, it's obviously going to be the state sponsored plan for the retirement. But it's a central job, then it's going to be a union sponsored, right? So pretty much that's all. Overall, it's quite basic. A lot of people have confusion with some things like what data or which year's data to put it. So that is one important part. But yeah, but then it's what is the housing status? Is it your own house, living with others, house provided by an employer? So we recently want to know, and you have to put in the values as per the things. Estimates work, but as long as they are close to the 3 years. But yeah, that's so good. So do we have a dependent? Dependent could be anyone who is living under the same roof or no siblings, etc. So I have a sister, so I put it right to her things there. And then it's also going to be asking about those stuff of your siblings, education, paisa वगैरह, child support, etc. Law. Then parent expenses, कुछ if you have some kind of college loan debt or others, then cases don't fall under this. In some cases, sometimes students have the older sibling doing in college. So those are the things that are in this section. You can leave blank if you don't have a older sibling or you are not in the situation yet. So that's up. Then the basic things, like the parent living expenses, utilities, kitna lagta hai, electricity, etc. Laws. So these are the things. Assets, current market value of investments, current amount in cash. So current amount in cash and checking deposit accounts, these are going to be some basic things. They are not going to ask you for this particular thing, like like a screenshot for your bank statement or others, but they might ask you for the like income statement for 2023, right? So another thing is that current market value of investment, this is what it is in the current time, not in 2020. Yeah, the tax part was from 2023, but the investment part is like what is the value now, right? So that's all. And then student tax return, if in case there is something, and if you have an income, you are going to put it like the student income wala ko, right? And after that, it's pretty much like expected earnings in summer of 2025. And now the main part is that there is a section for student expected income and benefits. So in this portion, what you process simply put is basically about how much money you are going to earn, like almost as actually, right? Let's say you are thinking that we're going to earn $900 or similar to that. So you're going to put it up there. For the school year, when we say school year, we are going to be in about I think like 3 months in range, and for the entire summer year, I think it's around considering a 9 months rates. So make sure that you click on the I icon. It's basically the info. It's written there sometimes. I don't know if we're going to change in this year. Sure, answer. And pretty much that's all. Like we are towards the end of the entire thing. So yeah, pretty much. And if you have any special circumstances for your family, you can just check 1 or 2 boxes with your sounds good. And another text box would appear, and in there you have to just put in the details and everything that's that you want to make others aware of. Pretty much that's all. No? Some colleges, when you are selecting the CSS Profile, have a supplementary question kit, right? So in that, they are basically going to ask you some basic things about like how are you going to do. I think Stanford or Harvard had it. Basically, they asked, Columbia had it. Definitely. Columbia asked about like how are you going to like pay the student or something like that, or in any essence in the US or like that. So they asked about that. So pretty much that's all. And please be very, very careful about filling up your CSS file, because this document is the basis of your scholarship and financial, right? If you mess up this one, like see how is scholarship for that actually calculated. It's basically the cost of attendance is a COA minus your EFC. EFC is basically that how much money that you're going to put it. The EFC portion, that is the EFC portion. So EFC portion is the student resources for how much does Shayak expect to receive from the following sources. This is the actual EFC portion guys. So make sure that you're inputting some good amount, so that they can understand that this guy can actually pay or fund himself even if we don't offer him this scholarship. And that is how actually it works. If you are putting a 0 EFC or very low EFC, like let's say 2-3 lakh rupees in India, I know that's a lot for us, but for them it's actually nothing. Like minimum of like at least 15,000 or 60,000 EFC is like the bare minimum right now in this current circumstances. And this is by considering that you're keeping in mind, let's say you have a good profile and then you're doing this. All pretty much about. And another thing is that COA minus EFC equal to your financial rate. How much financial that is that policy is going to be. And make sure that your main aim is build up your profile as calm as you can. And yeah, pretty much have some backups. So that in case US fails, कुछ और होगा तो मेरे पास आप बिल्कुल आ सकते हो, ठीक है? So if you have any doubts regarding the CSS profile, just let me know on the comments and we'll have, ठीक है? Detail help देगा. And common app के लिए डाउट होगा तो ये वाला वीडियो देखिए, ठीक है? So over.